Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Networks. Leroy Lucero along with the real Michael Carlisle of 610 The Sports Animal of Sports Bar fame, Mondays through Fridays, 3 to 7. Is that correct? Did I get that proper?
Mostly.
Mostly, okay. Yeah. Except for the real, you're just real.
Right.
Real Mike Carlisle is your Twitter handle.
Correct.
Because you're a Twitterer or Twitter-esque.
A tweeter.
I noticed today, usually we watch a show, I'm not wearing a tie.
Right.
You never wear a tie.
No, good Lord, no.
Usually Micah Frankel always wears a tie. Always.
Not today.
He's running around today without a tie. What's up with that?
It's hot.
It's hot.
Dude.
Baby, you're supposed to be holding the standards down standards up for the show.
Right.
We hold it
We
down.
hold it
they
down,
hold it
yeah.
up. Hey, we got a good show today. Micah Frankel will be here to talk, obviously, about John Bones Jones. You mentioned this on, I heard you this morning on 770 KOB. Are you the big time now? The big stick, the big torch?
You know I have my own show, right?
Well, on 610.
Right.
Well, 770 is a whole different, that's like up the dial.
Well, yeah.
And that's up the ampage and or wattage, I guess.
Wattage, yeah.
Yeah, it's up the wattage a little bit. Nice. Can you believe I was listening?
That's what I was wondering when you text me. I'm like, well, why the heck was Leroy listening to
Yeah, well, I had a doctor's appointment, so I had nothing better to listen to. How's that? Hey, anyways, we also have Director of Recruiting, former Lobo football player. You're never a former Lobo. Former Lobo football player, all-conference center, Vince Natelli.
Yeah.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about recruiting Lobo footballs. It's right around the corner. Yeah. Women's football clinic.
Yeah.
I used to call it the women's clinic, and a lot of women were saying, that doesn't
sound right. Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't understand. I understand now. Okay, I get it. Women's football clinic is this Thursday. So definitely go to golobos.com to get all the information for that. If you're a lady, you want to go and get on the field. I know they get on the field, throw some passes, do some stuff. Also do some classroom stuff where they go out and check out the playbook and some of that stuff. I don't know if Coach DeBess and Bob Davies show them the entire book, because
there's only one way to find out.
I was going to say
slap a wig on, put on a dress, and go out there, Leroy.
Well, no, I'm not going to do that. But I was thinking there could be an Aggie spy, but Aggies can't read. So, it's not like, whatever.
It'll be fun.
Anyways, we'll be back right after this with Coach, because he was a coach, Vince Natelli, after this.
J.R. Giddens threw it away. 6 turnover by New Mexico. All the way, Gibson, finger roll on the reverse layup. A little smooch out the window and good. And now Jonathan Gibson with 13. And a New Mexico. Granger to DeReese, beats the shot clock for 3. Wow. Got it! Twine and Dine and DeReese Gary. Inside, and Wendell McKillis with a jam. So what a 4 for the free throw line as Giddens, a little crossover reverse layup, pop the window and good. J.R. Giddens. Seconds to play. Giddens in the lane. Giddens wild. No, the putback. The big fella, Alex Kirk. Got a 2-on-1. To Giddens. Put it down. Back-to-back plays and then another steal. 3-on. DeVries, he's had the hot hand. No, put back.
Oh, wow.
Give me that, says Deshaun Delaney.
How many times has Deshaun done that?
Monster jam from DD. And there it is. That's why we waited.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutz Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between, Garden Schwartz Team Sales has the products and professional services you'll need to be your best. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
Don't sacrifice quality or flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride delivers the best tasting barbecue chicken and ribs with the fastest drive-thru in the whole city. Plus, Albuquerque Magazine has awarded Golden Pride for having the best tasting breakfast burrito in town. For a great meal without the wait, come see us at any one of our 4 locations or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride, home of Albuquerque's #1 breakfast burrito.
ProView Networks would like to thank Hi and Heather Roberts for their generous support of our mission to help raise the profile of New Mexico's youth and to serve the communities that support them. Hi and Heather Roberts are proud members of the American National Family of Companies and serve to provide life, health, auto, and home insurance to people like you.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
Are you sure we should take this billboard down?
People find out State Farm does car loans as well as they do insurance. Our bank is through.
Good point. Grab an edge.
Look, there's 2 guys on the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign.
No, for real, there's 2 dudes on the State Farm
Borrow Better banking sign.
Gentlemen, please get down from the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign. Phil, get the hose.
Okay, he's getting the hose.
All right, let's go.
Want to borrow better? Contact State Farm agents Marty Size and Michelle Bermudez about a car loan that can save you hundreds.
I am never getting married.
Never.
Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
Some of it here.
We are never moving to the suburbs.
We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, talk to State Farm agent Michelle Rudolph or Marty Size in Albuquerque.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV here on ProView Networks. I told you Lobos football season is right around the corner. We're a couple of weeks away. We want to bring in Vince Natale, Director of Recruiting. Come from us from Indiana State,
correct,
where you were the offensive line coach there. And you told us that you also GA'd at Utah State for a year. Yep. And prior to that, you played here.
Prior to that, I played here, went to the business world for a little bit, and then got into coaching because it's really what I love to do and where my calling was.
So what prompted you to get into coaching? I mean, is it just you just like the game?
Oh yeah, I love the game. And I loved being a Lobo. I loved playing there, playing at University Stadium. But more than anything, it was the pride you took in winning at football. You know, there's nothing better than to come off the field victorious in a football game. So, and we obviously did a lot of winning when I was here. So, took a lot of pride in that, and then compared it to the business world. You know, I was working a lot of long hours. I spent 4 years in the accounting world, and you know, the pride in your work wasn't, the pride in my work wasn't there as much as it was in what I believed it would be as being a coach. And after spending 1 year at Utah State GAing under Matt Wells and TJ Woods, and then spending 3 years as the offensive line coach at Indiana State, we had some success as well, and took a lot of pride in that as well. So I know that this is the route for me. I'm happy to be back in New Mexico and in the position I'm in. So looking forward to the future.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the winning that you guys did when you were here. You were part of the New Mexico Bowl winning team that beat Nevada and Colin Kaepernick, right?
Correct. Yeah, it was a great memory, great way to finish off my career.
Yeah, I just remember running out on the field and having a blast, and just having all the pressure of all those years taken away. So it was a blast. What brought you to New Mexico? I mean, you were coaching you were an actual assistant coach. Correct, and then now is it a step down, a step up? How do you look at it personally?
I don't see it as a step down.
Okay.
This is where I want to be. I'm happy to be at New Mexico. I take a lot of pride in being a New Mexico Lobo. This is the position that was available.
Okay.
And I knew this is the program I wanted to be part of. I came on my interview. Coach Davey had me sit in on team meetings and just sitting there and watching him interact with the players, how much respect they had for him, how much discipline was instilled. That reminded me of the years that I was playing here and the same kind of values that we had back then. And I knew I wanted to be part of that again. So I was very impressed from the beginning. And yes, I did struggle a little bit with the thought that I wasn't going to be coaching anymore. I wasn't going to be a full-time position coach anymore. But I know, and I was very open with the coaching staff that, hey, when something comes up or when staffs change over all the time.
Sure.
And when that happens, I want to be considered for a position, and I want to step in and continue on what I started back when I was a player here.
Yep. Now, what sort of similarities do you see between Coach Davey and Coach Long, who was your coach? When you hear about both old school kind of guys, obviously they have their own set ways, but did you see the similarities there?
Both value the blue collar mentality. Both value the hard work, the discipline, that everything is earned. Okay, and that's a tough thing these days with a lot of kids getting publicity right off the bat, not really having to do anything in college to deserve all that publicity. But he's very much here's how we're going to be. Here's the standard. Here's how we're going to act. Here's how we're going to behave as players. Here's how we're going to. These are the goals that we're going to have as a team, and there's going to be consequences if that doesn't happen. And a lot of times, especially with kids these days, we've already talked about it a little bit. Kids don't want to deal with consequences.
Right.
But Coach Davey, and much like Coach Long, is along the same lines. Very discipline-minded, very hard-nosed, very blue-collar mentality. So those are things that I value as well.
So you were on the field coaching with the players.
Correct.
Explain a little bit about what you're doing now.
Now I'm responsible for all organization of recruiting, in-state, out-of-state, where the coaches will be recruiting, the communication that the coaches will have, when they can have it because of all the NCAA periods of how what contact we're allowed. But mainly it's the organization. In the end, the players are going to want to hear from the position coach. I will do all the organizing in between. I will try to keep them interested. I'll do everything I can while the coaches during the season will be scouting, doing everything they can. But my main position is to organize, make sure that we're keeping on top of recruits, make sure we're showing them that we care about them, that we love them, that we're doing all that. All the while, we're still winning games. So,
awesome. So you mentioned that you have a camp coming up this weekend.
Yes, July 23rd at University Stadium. We have a high school mini camp, and I've already received a lot of interest from high school students in New Mexico and out of state that want to come. Make sure that we've watched their film beforehand, but the best thing that we can do is get those kids on campus, get to evaluate them ourselves, get to coach them ourselves, see how they respond to coaching. Those are the best. That's invaluable in the recruiting process, is being able to actually coach a prospect before signing him. So
now, Coach Davey talked about when he was first hired here that he wants to recruit local, but he considers local like Arizona, Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas, even into California and Utah. Is that same attitude still there? It's like, look, we're gonna throw this net out. We still want the best here in New Mexico, but we also want to expand that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's regional recruiting, right? A lot of talent in the neighboring states of Texas, Arizona, California, even Utah. Where we've gotten some kids to come and make a big difference for our program. But I think we're even further. Our reach is even further than that. A kid like me that came from Chicago, our reach is still there. We're still signing kids from the Midwest as well. A lot of good football there, and a lot of good talent that we can bring in. Now, that being said, At the same time, New Mexico is #1 priority, making sure we get the best players we can get out of New Mexico. In my research and in what I've done since I've been here, I've looked back since the year 2000, the last 15 years of all the all-conference, first team, second team all-conference guys we've had. A lot from Texas, some from California, but a huge chunk from New Mexico. And those were some of the best players that I had, or that were on the team when I was playing here. You talk about Nick Spiegel, the Cook brothers, DJ Renteria, all those guys that back in the day that they were the best players on our team. Dontrell Moore, I don't even know if I mentioned that name at all, but legend in himself. But there is a lot of talent, and that's something that people don't realize. New Mexico is full of football talent, and we've got to tap into that. We've got to make sure that we're digging that out. And there are far reaches that we've got to go. We've got to go to Gallup. We've got to go to Lovington, to Farmington, to all these places. Yes, but that's part of being the University of New Mexico.
That's something, I think Rocky Long probably did that better than any other coach here has, as far as finding those hidden gems in state. And I know that's something that since Coach Davey got here said was a priority for him. How hard is it to go to those far corners of the state, those small towns, and find those guys?
I don't think it's that hard. I mean, we're given a certain amount of time. We're given a lot of time to go out and find them. And now, these days, recruits are accessible through social media, through everything. So it's not that hard to go find them. Now, at the same time, we want them to come to us, and we want them to show interest in the University of New Mexico. We want to know that they want to be Lobos at the same time. So, that's what the camps are for. That's why we hold these things. That's why we communicate. And every coach on the staff has an in-state area that they have to go recruit, that they have to go check out, and they, in one way or another, we want to get those guys as part of our team, because you talk even on top of the walk-on process. A lot of those guys, Ryan Cook was a walk-on.
Sure.
Right.
I don't think anybody remembers that, but I remember it, and a lot of other guys. I think Mike Mahoric, was a walk-on as well. Was a great player for us here. So there's those kind of guys that we need to get, and we can't scholarship everybody, and that's just the way it is. But there is a lot of good talent here in New Mexico, and we want those guys to be part of our program.
So going out and doing that, you mentioned that. How important is it to have good relationships with the high school coaches in the entire area?
That's all it's kind of based on, because at the same time, like I said, we only have so many slots, and scholarship slots, I'm sorry. To show that, hey, we care, this prospect has a position on our team somewhere along the line. They've got to come to school, they've got to join our team, maybe spend a year as a walk-on, so be it. But we have to show those New Mexico high school coaches that we care. We're going to care about our kids. We're going to care about them. We're going to develop them. We're not just going to take them on and they're just going to be another player. Every player that's on our roster, they go through everything else that everybody does. They sit in the position meetings. They know our offense. They know our defense. They know our special teams, and they're going to play a role somewhere down the line with our program.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's still. What do you get, like a list of players? Or how does it start out, and then you start whittling them down? How does that work?
Every high school, any good high school coach has a prospect list.
Okay.
And from that prospect list, you just start to try to find their film. Okay. Or if you can't find their film, you watch the game tape and see if they stand out. But yeah, you create master. We've got hundreds of Excel spreadsheets that have players, their height, their weight, their huddle link, their whatever, their film link, whatever it may be, and we make sure that we review that. And, when the coaches came off the road in May, they spent a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, okay, just reviewing all the film that everyone had gone out, wherever they'd gone in California, Las Vegas, Arizona, California, and Texas, anywhere they'd gone out. Just created a master list and had them sit down in the staff room and just click through them, watch everybody, and rank them, and see where we land right now.
So if you have a coach, say, I don't know, a defensive coach that's Southern California, and they see a couple of offensive, do they pass it on to you, and then you pass it on to the offensive coach? Is that the way it works?
And again, the position coach's evaluation is what counts the most.
Okay.
That position coach is going to go through, but there has to be that communication. There has to be that organization. So that's what I did. I had every coach come through, bring me their list, bring me
Mhm.
everybody. I spent, like old school typewriter, just typing up all these lists, and spent hours doing that. Sent it back out to them and said, hey, here's the 150 linemen that we found. Evaluate them. Go through every one of them, see what you think, and rank them. Rank them, your top 10 guys. You know what you need. You need. You know, we don't ever just go ahead and say no to a recruit. We say, hey, listen, we need senior film, and this is what I need to see from this one prospect. So we can get back to them. We can keep on managing that relationship where we say, hey, this is what we need to see. This is what we want to see. This is what we value as coaches. This is what we value in our offense. What we want in our linemen, our receivers, and so on and so forth.
Now, you're not that far removed from your playing days. How much has recruiting changed? Like, just since you were being recruited to now with social media, you talked about game clips and all that. From sending tapes in to, hey, here's my link. Check it out. How much has recruiting changed?
I would tell you that it's changed a great deal from when I was recruited. Now that was the Stone Age. I'll tell you, it was 10 years ago. 10 to 15 years ago with the recruiting process, but now it's accessible anywhere on your phone, anytime. I can stay up at night and I can look up all New Mexico prospects and their huddle links and all that. That didn't used to be. That wasn't the way it was. What it has done, it's been a great thing for the recruits to have access to coaches a lot more. But yeah, at the same time, it's a lot more difficult to show that many recruits the same kind of attention that you would back in the day. And and a lot more kids get access now. Kids from a small school in the middle of nowhere, they can send their film and they can get recruited. So it's not just the big programs anymore that hey, these are the best players we have, and everybody just goes to that one school.
Right.
Now everybody can be recruited, and it's a tough thing to manage, and that's why my position did not exist back in my day. Back when I was playing.
Right, yeah.
So I'm happy to be here and happy to be doing that, and our program will hopefully have get the benefit of my position and my organization.
Coach, you mentioned something about ranking and stuff, and I wanted to ask you this. And I'm sure it hasn't changed, but I just want to hear it from you.
Sure.
We used to talk about being coachable or coachability of player.
Sure.
And you might even take a kid or take a shot on a kid that maybe isn't as talented because he will listen to you and he's not a pain in the butt, whereas a guy that maybe he's talented and is a pain in the butt, you're going to I don't know if we want to work with that guy.
The best quote I ever saw, or I ever heard actually, I was at a camp and Urban Meyer was there and he said, I never walk into a school and ask the coach, hey, I'm looking for a really good pain in the butt. And I say, say that in tempered language. But he said, if you want to be recruited, what's going to matter is your film, how you interact with the coaches, and what your high school coach thinks of you. Because you're going to go from being a high school team player to a college team player. And nothing changes, even though, the recruiting process has individualized a lot of prospects. It has changed it a little bit where you have more access. You can see what a kid is saying on social media. You can see how he acts. And when he's put in a certain situation, you can see the things that he's interested in a lot more these days than before. But you have to evaluate all those things as you go along. You can't just go and say, well, this kid's great talent and that's it. Academics plays a huge part because the NCAA mandates that. They don't want players that can't pass, and it's part of maturing the game, maturing the players, maturing the participants in the game, is that they want good students. They want at least people that try. They're not going to let kids just slide anymore with a 1.0 and that's it. The NCAA has their rules about what they'll allow and what they'll allow us to recruit and what they'll allow us to sign. So we have to recruit the entire person. You can't just recruit his athletic ability. You have to recruit his academics, his behavior, how he acts socially, how his family reacts with the prospect and with the coaches. So, that's also part of the whole changing dynamic of recruiting.
You do spend time on Facebook and
absolutely
Twitter reading with these
absolutely
kids are saying and what they're putting up and what's happening.
And it's tough these days, especially with all the social problems that are out there. You don't want to be out there you don't want to go and put something out there that
is going to
cause you,
So what do you Facebook?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the things that Snapchat, all the things that
I don't even do Snapchat.
Wow.
Kik, but I mean, there's a million of them, so you got to
there's
follow all
another.
of them.
Well, you have to
Follow
follow the
definitely,
ones
look
that
around.
you are interested in.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome, awesome. So you said that you have a camp coming up this weekend. Who should they contact, or how should they contact?
They can
for more
contact
information?
myself. They can contact our office. Anytime by email, it's the best thing, just because we can answer them really quickly and we can churn out a lot of them. But we more than welcome any film, any bio, anything like that that'll help us in evaluating beforehand.
And if a young man can't make it to this weekend's camp, but maybe during, I don't know, anytime during the week,
They
or
can
if
come
wanna
visit.
come and visit.
They can
see
come.
what's
There's
going
no
on.
limit on unofficial visits, as long as we're there. We're in the office. They can come to camp practices. They can come to games. They can go, and they can see, how our staff interacts with the players, and that's the big thing. That's the big selling point for a lot of for our program. Let's just say, is that our coaches are really great with our players. Okay, and that's one of the big selling points for our program as a whole, is that these coaches that we have are second to none, in my opinion. We have really great coaches, really great assistant coaches, really great head coach, and they know how to treat the players well. They know how to treat them fairly, which is a big thing these days, and not just playing favorites, which it's an honest part of this job. The history of playing favorites. Well, this rule applies to this player and not to another player. That's not the way it is with this staff. Everybody gets treated fairly. Everybody has the set of rules that they have to apply to, and the consequences are there. So we are a very blue collar program, and I would love it if any high school player, anybody that's interested, would come out and see it.
So I do have to ask you this question. I know you weren't here last year, so maybe you can't answer. But going to the bowl game, being on ESPN, basically I think 3 out of the last 4 weeks of the season this past year, the victory over Boise State, the victory over Utah State. What does that do for recruiting here at New Mexico and stuff like that?
To start on a regional basis, okay, it helped with those areas where, hey, you know what, everybody has expectations of Boise State, Utah State, and all these other competitors. And for us to have beaten them, hey, that puts New Mexico on the map. Hey, they're not this team anymore. They're not this program anymore that's just finishing in the bottom half of the conference. They're a true competitor now for the Mountain West title, and that has done a great service for us as in able to sell the program. Is that we're on the uptick here. We're getting better. All those things that Coach Davey and his staff have been preaching, those things are starting to show their benefit. They're starting to show the turnover from what the program used to be to where it is now. So it's done a big thing. Being in a bowl game, that's done a lot for our program as far as publicity as well. Shoot, I was back in Indiana, and me and my fiance at the time, we were watching the game just the same. So national coverage on that end, that definitely helped. We had our Natalie jerseys on and everything, our old jerseys on and everything. So
you still playing there?
Barely. They were tight back then, and they're even tighter now. So
exactly. All right, Coach. Do you have a favorite emoji that you send to the kids?
No, I don't. I don't get into that.
Does Coach Davey hit the emojis?
He's not. I don't think he knows those exist. So.
Awesome. Hey, he's Vince Natali. You can catch him if you're a high school player. Definitely look at the camps. Give a call down to the office. Go check out the field and the indoor practice facility, and get a chance to introduce yourself and maybe get yourself seen. Like you mentioned, Coach, walking on. There's no shame in that. That's a great way to start a career at UNM. We've and even since Rocky Long and even Coach Davey has kept that up. A lot of young walk-ons end up with scholarships because they work their tails off and they get there. I can think of David Anaya right now, the last one.
Absolutely.
I mean, that young man. I remember interviewing him when he first walked on. He said, "I'm going to get a scholarship and I'm going to work my tail off till I get one." Sure. And he did it. So definitely, thanks for being part of today's show, and we'll look forward to seeing more talking to you more and seeing more with the guys that you're bringing in.
Thanks for having me. Go Lobos.
We'll be back after this on Red Menace TV with Micah Frankel and CageMinds.com.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutt Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between, Garden Schwartz Team Sales has the products and professional services you'll need to be your best. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
Don't sacrifice quality or flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride delivers the best tasting barbecue chicken and ribs with the fastest drive-thru in the whole city. Plus, Albuquerque Magazine has awarded Golden Pride for having the best tasting breakfast burrito in town. For a great meal without the wait, come see us at any one of our 4 locations or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride, home of Albuquerque's #1 breakfast burrito.
ProView Networks would like to thank Hi and Heather Roberts for their generous support of our mission to help raise the profile of New Mexico's youth and to serve the communities that support them. Hi and Heather Roberts are proud members of the American National Family of Companies and serve to provide life, health, auto, and home insurance to people like you.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
Are you sure we should take this billboard down?
People find out State Farm does car loans as well as they do insurance. Our bank is through.
Good point. Grab an edge.
Look, there's 2 guys on the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign.
No, for real, there's 2 dudes on the State Farm
Borrow Better banking sign. Gentlemen, please get down from the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign. Phil, get the hose.
Okay, he's getting the hose.
All right, let's go.
Want to borrow better? Contact State Farm agents Marty Size and Michelle Bermudez about a car loan that can save you hundreds.
I am never getting married.
Never.
Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
I love it here.
We are never moving to the suburbs. We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, talk to State Farm agent Michelle Rudolph or Marty Size in Albuquerque.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutt Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between, Garden Schwartz Team Sales has the products and professional services you'll need to be your best. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Welcome in my mind, Cage Minds. I'm Micah Frankel. We've got a lot to talk about from the world of combat sports. Start off with last Wednesday, the UFC did not lose any steam after UFC 200. They took 2 days off, and then we had the first ever fight night in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Big takeaways from that. Well, in the co-main event, on short notice making his debut into the octagon, Jackson Wink fighter Lanny Venata put on a memorable performance with big strikes, hurt Tony Ferguson several times, but Ferguson was able to withhandle the storm, land several of his own really hard straight jabs, hurting Venata. Venata on the short notice, his cardio seemed to start to fail him, and Tony Ferguson with long arms was able to lock up a front choke, get the submission victory, and now 8 consecutive wins. That man deserves to be the next title challenger. He should get the first shot at Eddie Alvarez. 8 wins in a row inside the UFC. It's something that's hard to fathom, that somebody's went out there and been that good that many times consecutively. It's hard to be on that many times in a row. He deserves to be rewarded. Then we had the main event, where it's John Lineker and it was Michael Mayday McDonald. 2 strikers, both boxing centric. What you need to know about the little Brazilian Lineker is that he's the hardest thrower at 135, 125 pounds. You cannot stand in a phone booth and brawl with him. McDonald allowed himself to be backed up to the cage and was sucked into the brawl, eventually getting knocked out. For all of your UFC Fight Night 91 results, again, visit cageminds.com. We've had so much news lately, I'll let you guys know. Those results are all the way on page 2. Now, also this weekend, we had Bellator with a historic event. The first time Bellator traveled outside of North America. Well, they've been to Canada once. First time traveling outside of North America, they went to London. No place like London. Big international event. He had some dramatic turnouts from that one, including Michael Venom Page with a super knee. I'm sure you've seen it. It's been all over the internet by now, destroying the face and forehead of Evangelista Cyborg Santos. Flying knee, crushing skull, dirty stuff. You also had Matt Mitrione, 2 months with Bellator, 2 wins, taking out Ollie Thompson. You can go to my Instagram, Cage Minds MMA on Instagram, and see Matt Mitrione's knockout up there. The main event, people have been waiting to see Paul Daly fight at home in London. He got knocked down in the first, taken down in the second, outworked throughout all 3. Former Bellator welterweight champion Douglas Lima, on short notice, a return to his former form and a great victory in hostile territory. Bellator 158, we have the full results up at cageminds.com. Now, where do we head to for this week? That was last weekend. This weekend, what's coming up? There's a whole host of events, and we'll start off with Bellator 158. Up there in the main event, you're going to have a bantamweight battle where Darian the Wolf Caldwell will be taking on Joe Tai Minglo. Caldwell choked out Joe Warren his last time out in the cage, a rear naked choke. He is a talented wrestler who spent his time in Penn State training out of the Arizona Power MMA and Fitness. He should become the next bantamweight #1 contender, Darian Caldwell. Joe Tai Minglo is no slouch. The Filipino has power in his hands. It should be a fun fight. In the co-main event, you're going to see a battle between Dave Caveman Rickles and Melvin the Young Assassin Gallard. Rickles hits hard, has a nice ground game. Gallard, he's fast. He relies a lot on his fast twitch muscle ability, his reading of his opponent, hands down, coming to throw bombs. And you also have another great featherweight fight on that card that is going to see Emmanuel Sanchez versus German Daniel Weissel. So Bellator is right back to it with another card a week later. You also have Friday during the day, you're going to have Glory 32. Glory is in Virginia. Kickboxing, a 4-man, 1-night light heavyweight contender tournament. The winner will move on to a bigger 8-man tournament where you'll have the opportunity to have a world title shot. You're also going to see a couple of vets, Brian Collette and tough alum Myron Dennis throwing down in the co-main event, and a main event of Gabriel Varga challenging Sergey Adamchuk for the Glory featherweight title. We're talking about kickboxing. It's going to be punches and bunches, 3-minute rounds, non-stop action, tournaments. It's always something fun to take a look at. Also Friday night, Legacy 58, the main event, the vacant light heavyweight title for them is on the line. Ryan Spann taking on Robert Drysdale. Both men are very versed in the submission game. Drysdale is an icon in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world, and Spann has shown power in his hands. A 10-second knockout, 7 of 9 wins via submission. You can also go to cageminds.com. The DC Life Uncensored, episode 37. One of our guests this week is Ryan Spann. We also had an interview with WSOF and RFA vet Clay Weimer up on there. And let me get back on task. Huge Friday night. Legacy, Bellator, Glory. You got MMA, and kickboxing all leading up to Saturday, where it's a free card. The UFC is back on Big Fox. Start off with the co-main event because I know it's going to be spectacular. Former Strikeforce lightweight champion Gilbert El Nino Melendez taking on possibly the best kickboxer, pure kickboxer in MMA, Edson Barbosa. The only man to land a spinning back kick knockout. Terry Adam and the internet will never forget that. Can he put up with the pressure and the pace, the kind of caliber of a competition that a former world champion, the likes of Gilbert Melendez, is going to be bringing? Melendez is coming off of a suspension from USADA. It was a small one. I think it was possibly a marijuana one. He was sidelined for about a year, coming back with a vengeance. Can he handle the kicks and combinations of the dangerous Brazilian Barbosa? The main event, you have Peru's Valentina Shevchenko taking on someone you may have heard of, Holly Holm. This is going to be a striking delight. Two of the top female kickboxers in all of MMA. Holly, again, looking to keep her distance. She has that nice side kick to keep you off. Punches and bunches, working her combinations, hitting angles, and keeping her distance. Shevchenko is a Muay Thai kickboxer. To understand the difference, she's going to use more knees. She's going to look to use her elbows on the inside. She is not going to back down from the clinch, and she wants to be in a closer range. That could do Holly some wellness because Holly's going to be in so close range that she can use her boxing, but Shevchenko is dangerous with those elbows, and we've seen her against Sarah Kaufman be able to take the fight to the ground with trips and throws. It is a highly interesting, entertaining card. It starts, I believe, 4 o'clock here locally, the prelims and the main card on Big Fox, a show worth checking out because there's a ton of action coming up this weekend. Well, there's been a bunch of MMA news also out there, and let's get to some of it. We'll start off with the man that we thought was the greatest fighter that we had ever seen, top fighter in the world right now, or was he? We're talking about John Bones Jones. It has now been made official by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. John Jones tested positive for 2 different types of estrogen blockers. This is again speculating and leading towards a very hefty trial and legal proceedings. USADA still has to go through their investigation. John Jones has now went out and hired a very extensive legal team that specializes in this. He's going to fight it hard, but the last time we heard estrogen blockers, I believe it was Chael Sonnen, and he's about to get off of his 2-year ban. So another black mark and another defeat from John Jones. The guy is undefeated in the cage, but he cannot seem to get out of his own way. It's a sad situation. And then we're going to move on to the next guy that has been making a lot of headlines. And if you're looking at the picture on the screen right now, you may recognize him. It's Brock Lesnar, or it may be a duck, because if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and is 40 years old and looks like he's chiseled out of stone, it may be doing something illegal against USADA, and he has been flagged for a violation. Brock Lesnar, his miraculous win at UFC 200, it looked amazing. How could a guy, after 5 years on the sidelines, come back and dominate a top 10 heavyweight just out of the blue? Possibly with the help of some illegal substance. Brock Lesnar's official comment on the situation is, we'll get to the bottom of it. Mark Hunt's official comment is, you put me in there with somebody that was on PEDs. I want all the money that he was paid, or let me out of the UFC. A very interesting storyline to follow in a developing situation there. Talking about developing situations, things have gotten crazy out in Russia. Fedor Emelianenko was given a unanimous decision victory over Fabio Maldonado a little bit back, EFN Fight Nights. It was on UFC Fight Pass. I told you that Maldonado got knocked out in the first. Well, the World MMA Association, which is trying to become like the WBC, the USABC, the NBC, all the alphabet soups that are there with boxing that are governing commissions, want to do the same thing for MMA. Well, Russia is part of that. Well, with the fight looking funny and the scoring being funny, they had 3 independent judges rescore the fight. One from, I believe, Canada, one from London, and one from Russia. They rescored the fight and said that it was 28-28, a draw, and that Emelianenko's fight should be overturned to a draw. Well, even though Russia's part of the MMA Council, World MMA Council Association, they said, we'd rather not listen to you though. We're a part of you, but we feel you have no need to get involved in Russian MMA. So depending where you look, the fight's been overturned to a draw or not, but as it's a time in the Olympics and they're already talking about Russia and possibly the doping allegations. Well, here's even horrible judging. There's always something sneaky going on in the athletic competition in Russia. Sorry to see, sad to see. Fedor Emelianenko, one of the greatest of all time, should retire. The fight should be a draw. Now, one more thing, as I love to do, I love to beat up on Bellator. And Bellator with another classy move. Paul Bradley, the gentleman, has signed with World Series of Fighting. I just thought I was going to talk about Bellator. Oh yeah, it's because he fought his last 8 fights for Bellator, and it's coming off of a 42nd first-round knockout, knocking out Chris Honeycutt, who was a prominent prospect for Bellator. Well, what do you do with a guy that knocks out a prospect in the first round? Do you give him an extension? Do you give him a bigger fight? Do you move him forward? No, you cut him and release him, because he made one of your young prospects looking bad. Way to stay classy, Bellator. Great job, World Series of Fighting, picking up Paul Bradley, who may actually have a legit chance to make a run at a world title now in a promotion that's not just caring about glitz and glamour. Well, I've went through a lot, and I hope I didn't bore you guys. I mean, I've talked about a lot of combat sports, and remember, I'm going to leave you guys with, you got to go to cageminds.com. I told you, check out the DC Life Uncensored. We got some great interviews there. Also coming up for July 30th and further, we got some great stuff coming up next weekend. There's no fights this weekend locally, but next weekend we do have Southwest Brawl 4, Las Cruces Convention Center. We got an interview at cageminds.com with Maurice Jackson as part of that. We have the same night at the Manuel Lujan Building, Expo, New Mexico, Pro 9. We're talking about grappling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, cageminds.com. We have Elias Prochet from that event, an interview with him. Now, the following weekend, we head to August 6th, where you're going to see Rumble on Route 66-2 taking place at the Legends Theater, Route 66 Casino. The following weekend, the 13th of August, I'll see you guys at the Embassy Suites and Hotel. King of the Cage presents Willpower. CageMinds.com. Articles on all these events. You get the full cards, or at least where to find them. A lot of stuff coming up. And one more great interview I got to tell you guys about. Go to CageMinds.com. July 29th, UFC Fight Pass, Invicta FC 18. We got an interview with one half of the main event, Jackson Wink's female fighter, Jody Escobel. So a lot going on at CageMinds.com, and a lot of great commercials about to come. And when you get back, you'll see more Red Menace TV with Michael and Leroy.
Don't sacrifice quality or flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride delivers the best tasting barbecue chicken and ribs with the fastest drive-thru in the whole city. Plus, Albuquerque Magazine has awarded Golden Pride for having the best tasting breakfast burrito in town. For a great meal without the wait, come see us at any one of our 4 locations or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride, home of Albuquerque's #1 breakfast burrito.
ProView Networks would like to thank Hi and Heather Roberts for their generous support of our mission to help raise the profile of New Mexico's youth and to serve the communities that support them. Hi and Heather Roberts are proud members of the American National Family of Companies and serve to provide life, health, auto, and home insurance to people like you.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
Are you sure we should take this billboard down?
People find out State Farm does car loans as well as they do insurance. Our bank is through.
Good point. Grab an edge.
Look, there's 2 guys on the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign.
No, for real, there's 2 dudes on the State Farm
Borrow Better banking sign. Gentlemen, please get down from the State Farm Borrow Better banking sign. Phil, get the hose.
Okay, he's getting the hose.
All right, let's go.
Want to borrow better? Contact State Farm agents Marty Size and Michelle Bermudez about a car loan that can save you hundreds.
I am never getting married. Never. Guaranteed.
You picked a beautiful ring.
Thank you. We're never having kids.
I love it here.
We are never moving to the suburbs. We are never getting one of those. We're never having another kid.
I'm pregnant.
I'm never never letting go.
For all the nevers in life, talk to State Farm agent Michelle Rudolph or Marty Size in Albuquerque.
Get into the game. Garden Schwartz Team Sales features fine products and apparel from Wilson, Schutz Sports, Speedline, and Russell Athletics. We offer custom embroidery and screen printing services for all of your school or club needs, from team uniforms to school letter jackets. Specializing in all sports and serving all communities, from big schools to small schools, from up north to down south, or all points in between, Garden Schwartz Team Sales has the products and professional services you'll need to be your best. For great prices, friendly staff, and quality products, call Garden Schwartz Team Sales today at 1-800-880-7767. That's 1-800-880-7767. Since 1939, Garden Schwartz Team Sales is a proud supporter of New Mexico youth athletics.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
This would be.
Oh, well, you got me hooked on these WWE slam cards now. I mean, why you always tell me this stuff like during break?
Should I have told you on the air?
Oh, well, no, because then I would have been downloading it on the air. So I guess it would be better on break. I've already used up all my coins. It really makes.
You have to earn some more or buy some more.
Can I switch the coins from my NFL football or Walking Dead card game?
I do not believe so.
Did you get the Walking Dead?
I have not done the Walking Dead yet.
You have
no.
not?
No.
Okay.
Have you done the UFC?
No.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I know you and Mike are huge UFC guys. You know, and when I was off Saturdays, I was really getting into the UFC. But I kind of tailed off a little bit. Plus, everyone's on dope.
No more so than football.
Well, I mean, it's like, I feel like Mr. Hahn. Is everyone on dope? Well, when it comes to UFC, yeah, everyone's on dope.
Everybody's on steroids.
Well, that's dope. It's a controlled substance, is it not? John Bones Jones, I guess you mentioned this morning on 770 KOB.
Yeah, the Nevada State Athletic Commission confirmed that his positive test was for 2 different estrogen blockers.
So
we'll see how that plays out.
It just goes into that suspension situation.
No, it actually does not. What it means is he's going to have a hearing later in the year. His camp is going to claim tainted supplement.
Right.
He's hired a high-profile attorney who has defended other players who even more high-profile than Rudy, but has hired a high-profile attorney who has defended several players from different sports who have run into similar issues. Off the top of my head, I know he defended Marion Jones, Floyd Landis, the former Tour de France winner.
Sosa.
No. But anyway, and they're going to claim tainted supplement, which I suppose is possible. This may shock you looking at me. I really don't know a lot about supplements.
Really?
And fitness.
I'm stunned.
So I know, right? So I mean, I suppose it's possible. But that's going to be an uphill battle. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to watch, and then of course Brock Lesnar comes out. All of a sudden, it shows he urinated a dirty sample as well.
Well, I don't know if it was urination. They also do blood samples.
Oh, do they do blood?
But anyway, yeah, we found that out Friday that he had gotten flagged.
The urinate could have been blood.
I don't know. It could have been. I don't know.
Okay.
That's
You're
not the point.
there.
And his camp is very well. Of course, he doesn't have much of a camp. Very tight inner circle. They're being very tight-lipped. Now, I have heard whispers that maybe it had to do with an asthma medication. So we'll have to see how that plays out as well. So interesting with that, Lesnar had been tested something like 8 times from the time that he announced he was coming back up to UFC 200, and I believe this was test 5, and he had passed the previous 4. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with tests 6, 7, and 8. To see if he passes those, to see if this was some sort of anomaly, if maybe there was something going on, maybe his masking agent wasn't working well on this. I don't know. But, well, I mean, if all the other ones come back fine, he popped positive on this one for some reason.
Yeah. So I'm going to change gears because I know we've had some UFC talk with Micah.
Yeah.
You said you went to Isodukes Park for cause.
This past Friday, yeah, they had a superhero night, and it's Isotopes.
Isodukes is what I call them.
Right, but it's Isotopes.
And I've already claimed that. I'm already going in the process of of making that mine, so that way when the time
You're going to trademark that?
When the time comes and they're ready to make the move, I'll get rich. Isadukes. How do you think that's going to go?
Not very well.
Not very well,
No.
probably not. But it's easy to trademark it. Anyway,
so
what I was
yeah.
going to say, they had the comic thing. So Isadukes Park, they're doing pretty good as far as attendance this year, are they?
Attendance is very well. The team is very hot. As we filmed this on Tuesday, they won 7 straight.
Yeah, I noticed that this morning you said they lost 7 straight the first time I heard you. And then you said quickly.
Right, I quickly corrected. Well, it hasn't been the best of years.
Okay.
You know, they had a 13-game losing streak earlier this season, so.
They didn't have anyone bite anyone's ear off, so it's
Well, the season's not over.
Okay.
But yeah, they haven't yet, and that was a
positive.
problem last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Right. But no, yes, attendance as well. Look, it's always a fun time going out to Isadukes Park. And yeah, this past Friday they had superhero night, so there were a bunch of people.
Did you go dressed up?
I did not.
Did you want to?
No, I did not.
Do you have, what is it called, cosplay?
Cosplay, yeah.
Do you have a cosplay go-to gear?
No.
You don't? Okay. All right. You didn't have like a Star Wars or something?
I'm a grown man.
Okay.
I'm a well-adjusted grown man. I don't dress up
You
as
don't do
superheroes.
cosplay.
No.
Okay. No problem.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just not
I mean, we're coming from a guy that's collecting
No, you're right.
WWE
I'm collecting WWE trading cards on my phone, but I'm not dressing up as superheroes.
Okay,
Right?
you won't dress up like, I don't know, Tatanka?
Or no.
No, okay. We couldn't
Really?
get you-
Hold on. Of all the wrestlers in the world, Tatanka was the first one that popped into your head.
Well, I don't see you coming out as a Roman Reigns type character.
Well, I don't like Roman Reigns either.
Well, okay. I was just curious. Real quick, I do want to mention, sorry, I know we're just bouncing all over the place here. I do want to mention once again, Thursday night at Lobos Football Field. It's for the Syndicate program. It's the Women's Football Clinic. It's, believe the 21st one started by Dennis Franchione.
Wow.
And every coach has kept it since then. Ladies can go out on the field with the players, actually run plays, put on the gear and everything else. They can also go upstairs with the coaches and check out film and the playbook and how plays are run and what coaches do. So it's a great time. I encourage all ladies to go out. And I know it's not that expensive. I don't know the price, but if you call the Lobos football offices, you can sign up or just show up that night and make it out there as well.
Yeah.
Any other announcements or anything else?
Former Lobo basketball player Cam Bairstow
Yeah.
signed a contract to play back home in Australia with the Brisbane Bullets.
As he was cut by the Detroit Pistons, which you had mentioned that was going to happen anyway. So
Interestingly enough, nobody's hipped Brisbane up to the fact that they need to change their name to the Wizards. Because, the Washington Bullets back in the day, political correctness had to change.
But see, this is the only country where we have political correctness.
Maybe
I don't think
maybe
have
they
it
just don't
anywhere
have a
else.
gun problem in Australia.
Well,
I don't know.
And maybe they don't care. I mean, they all live on the what do they call it? The outback anyway, right? I mean, don't you remember what was that movie where he said, "This is a knife"? What was that movie called?
Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee. Anyway, I know we're coming to the end of this show, even though Alden hasn't given me the card saying that we're done. But I want to thank Vince Natali for being. We'll just keep on talking.
Yeah.
Except I got a doctor's appointment. I want to thank Vince Natali for being part of the show. Of course, Micah Frankel, Alden the button tickler, tickling buttons back there. Hey, look, you put the sign up. You gave me the minute sign a minute and a half ago, and now I got the 30-second sign. For Mike Carlisle, I'm Leroy Lucero. This is Red Menace TV. We'll see you next week, and until then, God bless you all.